Wednesday, May 7th, and this is the first day of Real ID enforcement, and I am trying to stream to Instagram, YouTube, and X all at the same time, and it may or may not work, so let's just give it a shot. I'm going to walk you through here and show you how it's going. Spoiler alert, it's actually very calm so far. The airport says there's 24,000 departing passengers today, so that's going to mean that it's not heavy volumes. A busy day would be 30, over 30. A super busy day, I think, would be over 40. Those are sort of the record-breaking days. Are in the upper 30s, lower 40,000 volumes of passengers. But I'm about to go into the east entrance of this airport, and you will see immediately that the line to get into TSA is very short. Smooth sailing. And yeah. The airport, so I talked to a couple TSA agents. One of them told me that since 3 a.m., this was from, I guess, 3 a.m. to later, but I forget the exact time. Anyway, he said they'd only seen a few dozen people show up without Real ID. You can see here that there's a bunch of additional airport employees dressed in these high visibility vests. There were 4 out here earlier, and there's only 3 right now, but they're just directing, as you enter the security line, they just ask you, Real ID or passport, Real ID or passport. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Real ID, this dates back to the 9/11 attacks, and we have a story on our website explaining it. Probably familiar, but essentially it's a national identification standard that's supposed to make the ID more secure and more trusted by federal authorities. So you won't only need Real ID to board a plane, you'll also need it to enter secure federal buildings and so on. It's actually more calm now than it was when I was walking here like 15 minutes ago. They are fewer airport employees as well. So everyone in Texas basically has this because Texas started doing this in 2016, and you have to renew your driver's license every 8 years. So if you have a valid driver's license in Texas, you have this. There's like 1% or 2% that don't, because they have these older driver's licenses that don't expire in Texas. It's a very, very, very small portion of the population. So if you have a valid Texas driver's license, you almost certainly have Real ID. Let's check this line. This is where TSA Pre is. And you can see right here, just totally fine so far. As I mentioned, there's only 24,000 departing passengers today, so that's going to help. Perhaps they intentionally rolled it out on a Wednesday rather than like a Friday before Christmas or something. An airport employee who's staffing these lines told me that she had only seen one person show up without Real ID, and this was an individual who knew it was Real ID Day and had brought his social security card along with his driver's license. Now, a TSA officer I spoke with said that the secondary screening is actually very smooth. He said just a few extra seconds. That may be hyperbole, perhaps it's a couple minutes. I can't imagine it being a few seconds, but the point being, it's very fast. And the Department of Homeland Security announced this back in January. They were afraid, actually, of there being long lines and confused travelers at airports. That's why they've been hammering this message. This is in a rule they issued in the Federal Register in January that essentially told federal agencies that May 7th is a deadline, but you can phase it in over 2 years. So here we go. It's one of those stories where big lead up, and perhaps because everyone's aware, it's not really a big deal. But, according to DHS, only 60% of Americans have Real ID. So you can see where the concern comes from. If you have a bunch of folks, obviously almost no one in Texas would have this problem, but people visiting here. would have this issue. They'd have to use a passport or do the secondary screening. So that's really all I have to report at the moment. It's just pretty smooth sailing so far here at Austin Bergstrom International Airport.